so much for the kind introduction, Cassandra. So I will start off with some of the background, basically why Kohaku, why we're doing Kohaku, and why it makes sense to really start something like Kohaku now. So Ethereum, I think first we need to appreciate it has led the way on privacy research and development over the past 10 years in all kinds of ways, right? So Ethereum added the elliptic curve precompiles, ECAD, ECVol, ECPairing back in 2018. Tornado Cash, Railgun, all the privacy protocols are based on that. We have funded a lot of academic research on all of these topics. The PSE did a lot of really important work on ZK Stark protocols, developer tooling, even a lot of pioneering application layer stuff, and Ethereum L2s, including Aztec, including Inmax, on the enterprise side, also Nightfall, and likewise on security, right? I think the DAO hack in 2016, who remembers the DAO hack? Who lost money in the DAO hack? So it really catalyzed the ecosystem, and we got a much stronger smart contract auditing ecosystem. We got Seal, a group that's been doing all kinds of work around security this past decade. A lot of improvements to languages, both Solidity and Viper, to make them more and more secure over time. Also multi-sig wallets that were sort of mostly a dream back in 2015, and then now very mainstream today. Who here uses a multi-sig wallet on Ethereum? Amazing. So, but on real-world privacy and security delivered to users, we're still behind where we could be. And that is the thing that could change, and that is the thing that this year can't change. So, using privacy protocols in 2025. The good part is, the base layer technology, it's all great. You can generate a proof within less than 1 second on a laptop, 2 seconds on a phone. It's easy to develop. It's very well understood. There's a lot of well-tested circuits. But from a UI side, right, using a privacy protocol requires a separate seed phrase. There's no multi-sig option, so if you have your coins in a private pool, your coins have to be controlled by one single key. It requires opening a separate privacy wallet. It takes like 5 clicks to do a private send and withdraw. The public broadcaster mechanisms are brittle. Last week I had to fight against public broadcasters, and it took about 10 tries until eventually I figured out that it works after you turn on a VPN. So we're in this very last mile stage, right? And it's exactly at that last mile stage where we need to put a lot of really concerted effort into doing better. Same on the security side. A lot of layer 1 security work, much better. Safe Wallet, much better. But this year, Safe UI, not yet much better, right? Also, usability of security. So there's this article here basically asking why, in the era of everyone knowing about Mt. Gox and FTX, do people use centralized exchanges? And one big part of the answer is basically convenience, right? And a lot of people don't understand how to work with things like private keys. On all of these fronts, we can do better. Privacy is important. So this is an excerpt from an article I wrote in April, Why I Support Privacy. Privacy is freedom. Privacy gives us space to live our lives in the ways that meet our needs without us having to constantly worry about how our actions will be perceived by all kinds of centralized and decentralized, coercive and otherwise political and social games. Privacy is order. A lot of the most basic mechanisms in our society depend on the assumption that not everyone can constantly see what everyone else is doing. And privacy is progress. There's a lot of value that we can unlock by using data for things like medicine and science that could become a dystopian nightmare if it is done in a way that is not designed to be privacy first. And with newer cryptography, it can be designed to be privacy first. Privacy is not an abstraction, it is a concrete benefit to users we can show that we have now. Security is important. So here, I think I'll let the meme speak for me, right? But basically, You can do a lot of things with your assets. If you put them into DeFi, you get some APY. If you do nothing, you get 0% APY. Can anyone shout out what your APY is if you lose your private keys? Minus 100. What your APY is if Lazarus discovers your private keys? Minus 100. And what your APY is if the wrong people discover how much money you have, who you donate to, and where you live. Dead. So, now, privacy is a lot of things, right? I think historically we have, at least in the Ethereum world, thought about privacy as basically just being what can you ZK prove on chain. But privacy is much more than what happens on chain. It's also UX work. It's making it easier for people to have different wallets for different applications and not accidentally screw up and link their identities to each other when they do that. Privacy is privacy of reads, being able to read data from the chain without compromising everything about yourself. This can be done either with techniques that take RPCs and make them better, so things like either TE plus ORAM or the really cryptographically pure approach PIR, or by making it easier to have full nodes, which block level access lists and ZK VMs will do. Also, making sure you don't reveal everything about yourself from at the network level, so looking at mixed nets. Also, looking at operations other than finance. All of these things are important. Security is more than any one thing. So, risk-based access control. You should have to press more buttons and get more authorization to move $100,000 than to move $10. This is something that traditional security has recognized for over a decade. It's something that our space needs to work around as well. Recovery, better options for people to recover their accounts if they lose a device, if they lose a key. Security at the user interface level. On-chain version control, both of software dependencies and of UIs. We should have a world where UIs live on-chain, and the DAO itself sends an on-chain transaction to update the UI, so you can't hack into a server and make people dependency minimization and security of the dependencies. So, Ethereum in 2025, it has strong security and privacy research. It has strong security on the L1. There is constantly improving privacy tooling that has improved by miles since Zcash, the very first version of Zcash launched, and it took 2 minutes to sign a transaction. So much improvement has happened, but we still need to level up the last mile. We need to level up the application and wallet layer, the parts of this whole problem that are closest to the user. And that is exactly what Nico will talk to us about.